Mark was asleep next to her with the shallow tennis piece that had become his since the diagnosis, the drugs, the biopsies, and the never-ending visits. She could feel his chest move, and her hand went straight to him, just like it had on their first night together decades ago. It felt warmer on his skin than it did before. His hair had become thinner and stopped falling out. His smile tried to smooth out the new lines on his face. "Kelly," she said in a low voice because she knew the number even before she saw the name on the screen. "Are you awake?" "Always." She didn't like how her voice cracked. "What is it?" "Hi, this is Dr. Morales." It was the oncologist's small, clear voice. He or she was now in charge of Mark's care. "I think we need to talk." In the dark, they sat up together and listened to the sounds of the city. Delivery trucks, laughing from a bar downtown, and the wailing of an ambulance far away. Everything else in the world kept going as planned, but their lives were on the verge of another turning point. By dawn, Kelly had canceled all of her 3 morning meetings, 2 promotion calls, and all of her events for the week with just 1 call to her manager. She wasn't the type of woman who skipped work for no reason. This wasn't like the morning show, which was a skill and an anchor. Mark had always been her partner and the actor who could take a single line and turn it into a song that made the whole room breathe. Seeing him get worse and seeing the results of tests, scans, and prognoses go back and forth between hope and despair changed the shape of everything. It wasn't just one thing that broke. 1,000 little things brought it to a certain point. A scan that showed brand new sores. A drug that made his gut hurt and made him feel bored. Someone he didn't know was their youngest child one night. He felt his hand shake when he tried to hold a spoon. That's when he stopped acting like everything was fine for her. Getting up, he said, voice hoarse, "I no longer want to be brave, Kel." The first roar of the landslide came from that line. Raw, stubborn, human. She thought it hit both of them. The sentence was the kind that would make anyone give up on plans, projects, and duties. She put everything on hold because being present was more important than anything else. Within hours, the word got out. By design, publicists and managers were quick and bad at keeping things secret. There was a lot of guessing on social media, which was where their jokes, pictures, and vacations were shared. News stories were not as harsh as they could have been. Kelly Ripa takes a break because her family is sick. Read one. Someone else pushed the inevitable voyeurism. Why this is important for live TV. The company called and told Kelly they would help her with anything. Flour, prayer, and food cards were sent by fans. It felt like I was in a bell jar when I scrolled. Outside, life was hopping. Inside, life shrunk down to a single, weak center. The master bedroom was turned into a hospital room. They didn't do this to make the house look like a hospital room, but because they wanted it to feel safe. Nurses stopped by for short stays. Friends brought food over. Kelly's best friend Gina cleaned like it was a prayer. Later, as they folded sheets, they talked quietly about the good old days when missing a practice was the worst thing that could happen. The kids were loud and caring, but they were still kids even though they had become more like adults after years of being in the spotlight. Changed with the unnatural realism of someone who is seeing a parent hurt. They learn about therapy and what can go wrong. The right way to make smoothies for Mark and the best way to sit next to him without having to fix anything. The public learned as much as they could from edited comments, photos that were meant to look natural, and brief glimpses of hospital hallways. But the story inside was real and detailed. Not for the story, Mark and Kelly would hold hands and read out loud from the same book some nights. They could both remember parts of early talks, but the rhythm of another human voice made them think of endurance. They talked about old things for short periods of time. Mark would grin and call her a tyrant if she changed her plans. It would be Kelly's answer that good rulers always put family first. Laughter came like a gust of wind, made everything clear up quickly, and then it was gone. They did what they were supposed to do. The doctors talked about the choices. Chemo that is more aggressive, clinical studies with new drugs, and palliative care that focuses less on curing and more on comfort. There was a chance of something bad happening on each road, and it was bad for you. Mark thought about the months ahead while sitting in the oncologist's office. He saw hospital halls as endless repeats with faces that were hard to make out. His life was limited to appointments and treatment.